Hello Avengers, and welcome to the classroom. Thank you for joining us as always. I've talked about a lot of DC cartoons from back in the day, but today I'm talking about one of people's favorite Marvel shows, Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Our world's about to break, tormented and attacked. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am a DC guy. Not that DC. Ew, get it out of here. Icky. This DC. Because of this, I've covered all sorts of DC shows, from Teen Titans, Young Justice, The Penguin, Creature Commandos. On the other hand, I've covered like 3 Marvel shows, X-Men 97, Daredevil, and the CG animated Spider-Man show from this past winter. So, I've had some homework to do. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes was airing on Disney XD and sharing classic Avengers stories 2 years before they'd fight Loki in the MCU. I never watched the show growing up. Disney XD always gave me the same vibe as those t-shirts for boys that said like, list of things I hate. Number 1, not having boogers. Number 2, my stupid sister who I want to kill. And now, I'm really jealous of the kids who watched the show before the movies came out and pissed at younger Shane for being such a fool. Because Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is fucking language. Shut up, MCU Captain America. You have no dominion over me here. Shut up. And Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is still fucking great. The first 5 episodes of the series are dedicated to giving us introductions for each of our main heroes. Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. One of my favorite things about the series is how unique the tone of each character feels, very reminiscent of their original comics. Iron Man deals with issues of war and technology, but ultimately, practically all of his villains and downfalls are the result of himself and his hubris. Always the futurist, always attacked by his past. Thor is a grand, sweeping, godly adventure where storylines span eons and the stakes are the 9 realms themselves. But the Prince of Thunder has to learn humility in Midgard on Earth. Not just from beating up losers like the Wrecking Crew, but through truly heroic normal people like Jane Foster. We meet Bruce Banner on the run, tired and scared, but still trying to help people like Carl Creel, the Absorbing Man, before the Hulk is pursued by S.H.I.E.L.D., Thunderbolt Ross, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, across vast desert landscapes like the ones used in the Manhattan Project. Captain America's episode has him and his kid's sidekick Bucky before the long ice bath, taking on Hydra's Red Skull and Baron Wolfgang Strucker. This episode does a really good job emulating the strangely lovable military propaganda that the original Captain America comics just were. Even starting with an in-universe propaganda film on the Captain, and even ending with a Kang the Conqueror tease. God, I hate Kang. And the episode introducing Ant-Man and the Wasp is a 3-parter. We meet Hank and Janet, obviously, but there's also a fun fight against Ulysses Claw and Whirlwind. And oh my god, Black Panther's here? Oh, shoot, he's gone again. This is part of what I've really grown to love about Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It feels the most like a cohesive Marvel universe out of any of their shows. And it's given me a lot more comic-accurate versions of characters I've mostly seen in the movies and never really read much of. Mainly Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Hawkeye. This isn't really surprising since the creation of this show, from executive producers down to scriptwriters, is filled with comic book veterans. Joe Quesada and Stan Lee took roles as co-executive producers, and in Season 2 they even got Jeff Loeb as a writer. If that name sounds familiar to you, it should. He wrote The Long Halloween. How do you have him on this and then cancel it after 2 seasons? After these introductory episodes, we start with the true format of this show, which I love. Multi-episode story arcs with most of them having their roots directly in the comics. Man, I can't wait for them to do the Sin Eater storyline. The first story arc of Earth's Mightiest Heroes is Prison Break. One thing I've grown to really support a lot more watching this show is the prison industrial complex. I didn't know that prison was so cool. The Raft, the Vault, the Big House, and the Cube, the 4 main supervillain prisons of the Marvel Universe, all experience simultaneous breakouts. This is a great plot to really kick off the series with, especially for me. While obviously I love our heroes, I've always been more of a villain guy. I'm just so dark and twisted. I like seeing villains I've always been a little more curious about, like the Leader and Living Laser, but the real breakout star of this arc is Graviton. The animation of the show is very clean and nice to look at, but has remained pretty simplistic even after this arc. But Graviton's powers, how the world warps itself around him, is really cool. I'm really glad that they actually didn't form the Avengers by fighting Loki, even though I do always enjoy that as a reference to their first issue. Graviton is a really entertaining and intimidating villain. And now the Avengers can finally form, since Hank Pym has officially become Giant Man. Which, okay, this has always confused me. We call him Ant-Man initially, obviously, because of the smallness and the ants, but then he gets a new power, getting big, so we're supposed to call him a whole different name now? Like, they call him Giant Man, sometimes, but, he's still Ant-Man primarily, he just can get big now, but we're supposed to call him a new name? I don't know, it's probably the only dumb thing Stan Lee ever put in a comic book, so. The next arc is one of my favorite small ones in the series. The best thing about Earth's Mightiest Heroes isn't the great comic adapted arcs, it's just these characters interacting. And that's why getting new Avengers, this time in the form of Captain America in the Black Panther, is always great. This arc also introduces us to one of my favorite Captain America villains. A man so easy to absolutely despise. Baron Heinrich Zemo. For decades, he thought that one of the only Hydra commanders more detestable than him, the Red Skull, had killed Captain America. But now his biggest op has been unthawed, and he's so happy.
Arnim Zola's creatures will deal with your new friends. But you, let the Skull have Bucky. Your life is mine to take! Ah!
One hero that pretty much everyone agrees that the MCU has let down is the Hulk.
Hulk sad!
A victim not only of the Gamma Bomb, but of the messy world of studio film rights. The Hulk supporting cast has been made into piecemeal parts for other MCU projects. Most recently in Captain America 4 with Red Hulk and, spoilers, cause I know y'all didn't see this movie, the Leader. Everyone loves a villain who can match a hero on their level. There can be something so devastating about seeing Superman fight General Zod, but I prefer Lex Luthor. The contrast is typically what makes the villain-hero dynamic interesting to me, much more than the similarities. And that's why through this arc, the Leader is now my favorite Hulk villain. Gamma World carries on from the Prison Break storyline. After being released from the Cube, the Leader, using a number of other Hulk villains, detonated a gamma bomb in Las Vegas, turning it into an irradiated wasteland full of monsters. Like, more of one. This is a very satisfying arc. I love the way that it carries on from the Prison Break arc, and you can really feel how much the writers and creators of the show love these characters, and want to give them stories that will reflect the comics that young viewers probably aren't familiar with. I also really like that when the Avengers turn into Gamma monsters, they aren't just, all Hulks. Wasp turns into an actual, Wasp monster, same deal for Black Panther, and Iron Man turns into a gross, Weapon X-y nightmare. And this arc even sets up the Red Hulk arc in Season 2, which I am not talking about today. I was originally planning on covering the whole show in one video, but with how much I had to say about Season 1, I really just wanted to split these up, but it's gonna be okay, I promise. I love you. Please, like and subscribe. Now, if there's one thing I love more than a good hero team-up story, like, way more, it is a good villain team-up story. The Injustice League, the non-monetizable squad, the Sinister Six, the Secret Six, the Rogues, hell, even the League of Villains, and now, the Masters of Evil.
Hello again, monster.
I'd be licking the goddamn screen, I can tell you that much. The Masters of Evil, love that name by the way, so much, have been assembling in the background of the series. Crimson Dynamo, a never-heroic Wonder Man, Enchantress, and her Executioner, all led by Baron Zemo, but low-key, led by Loki. This is a really fun episode, the character writing is great as always, but honestly, I just love this episode because I always love this thing. Villains should not only team up, but also be best friends. Since I'm only covering Season 1 in this video, that meant that there were no arcs that I had to skip for the sake of brevity. That doesn't mean I don't want to, though. But I sacrifice for this classroom. The next storyline is introducing us to more of the larger galactic conflict in the Marvel Universe. I do like that this is a more accurate version of the Kree Empire than I saw in the MCU when I was introduced to them. I like the Supreme Intelligence and Ronan the Accuser, but oh my god, I do not care about the Kree. In terms of cosmic comic book characters, I'm much more of a, New Gods guy. That's another point for DC, baby. I like when cosmic stuff is weird and verging more towards unhuman. That's why I do like elements like the Supreme Intelligence, but the Kree just being an all-conquering galactic empire just isn't very interesting to me. It always goes, hey, we're the Kree Empire, we're gonna Kree Empire you now? Well, no, don't do that. We don't want that. Well, looks like it's wartime. And then the Avengers win, because it's an Avengers story. My favorite thing about this show is the dialogue and character interactions. It's why my two favorite characters are probably Hawkeye and the Wasp. So when the characters just have to do plot dialogue, stop the robot, stop Ronan the Accuser, stop this plot line, it just gets boring. But also, this does set up the Secret Invasion storyline, and I do at least find these Skrulls to be more interesting than the Kree. The next one is Kang. Can we, travel to a timeline where I give a shit? I think I've made it pretty clear by now that the thing I appreciate most about this show is the relationships between these characters. Heroes and heroes, heroes and their love interests, heroes and villains, and my love for those dynamics is exactly why I do not like Kang. Since Kang is from, the 35th century, he can't really have that many interesting relationships or dynamics with our heroes. The closest he gets in the comics is with the Fantastic Four, and they're just not a focal point of the show. But this arc does tease maybe my favorite one of the season, and there is some Fantastic Four stuff, so that's cool. Next arc, go back to your dumb timeline, Kang.
I am Brutalitops, the magician.
Now, I've been through a lot these past couple arcs. It's arguable that I've suffered more than anyone ever. So when I saw that this one was a Thor arc, I almost shot my TV with a concealed pistol, a la Vice Principal Neil Gamby. But I was pleasantly surprised. This episode sees Malekith, the fan-favorite villain of Thor the Dark World, unleash the fan-favorite ice storm from the day after tomorrow upon the Earth. I really like worldwide freezing plots and stuff. I don't know why. I think it's basically schadenfreude from experiencing Midwestern winters my whole life. But this was fun. This episode also has a subplot about what Black Widow has been up to, which I kinda have not mentioned at all. Hydra, led by Baron von Strucker, and the Advanced Idea Mechanics, or AIM, led by MODOK, have been fighting for the Cosmic Cube, even later bringing their fight to the streets of New York City. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been trying to intercept the cube, even embedding Black Widow into Hydra, and even letting Hawkeye believe that she had betrayed them. I've never been the biggest S.H.I.E.L.D. fan due to my burning, visceral, consuming hatred for the Central Intelligence Agency, but they're like, kinda cool here. I like their cool spy aesthetics a lot more than the Super NATO version it is in the MCU, and this is a really cool version of Nick Fury. I am kinda glad that I spend the majority of my day and my life now looking at least one screen, because the machine has taken over, and the Ultron Initiative has begun. This is my favorite arc, of this first season at least. Ultron is like my chrome whale of comic book villains. I absolutely love Ultron. I love his origin, I love his design, I love the fact that he has an army of identical robots, I love that he says stuff like Ultron Initiative. That's awesome. I love him so much. I don't know if I've ever read a comic, like, about Ultron. While I do really like this show, the Avengers comic books and a lot of the books of the characters on the Avengers have never really been my thing. I like good comic books. I prefer experiencing the Avengers in things like this, or my favorite video game, Marvel's Avengers 2020. I play it every day. This arc starts off in a really compelling way. After a way too rough fight to have against the Serpent Society, Ant-Man makes a decision.
I mean, seriously, they're supervillains. You just hit them.
Wasp and Iron Man speak truly. Animals like these, they cannot be talked to. They respond only to violence.
I quit.
I really like this scene. I honestly agree more with Hank Pym than anyone else in it, but he did kinda screw up, so he just decides. There's no argument to be had. And Ultron is probably, no, definitely, the scariest villain in the show.
You might be right, Ultron. This isn't exactly the peace and order that I programmed you to try and achieve, is it?
No, it is not.
As always, he completely dismantles the Avengers, especially that loser Tony Stark, and out for a little while. My favorite part of the first Ultron arc of this show is the dynamic between Ultron and Wasp. Not only being programmed by, but having the brain imprints of Hank Pym, Ultron can't bring himself to kill Janet. But that doesn't mean he isn't trying.
I must eliminate chaos, but my programming is evidently flawed. I am not permitted to eliminate you. I am attempting to correct that flaw.
I would vomit from terror. Ant-Man ends up ultimately defeating Ultron by using big brain Redditor logic and getting him to unalive himself. But also, since he already felt bad enough about hurting the people he was trying to help, his helping robot turning into an evil hurting robot isn't great for his mental, you know? But it's Hank Pym, I'm sure he'll be fine.
You can't stop me.
Uh-oh, moving on. This season wraps up with a finale that is just like a little too much, I think, but I do like it. The 3-part finale sees the cosmic Asgardian villains and the Earth villains both work together and fight. Loki is taking control of Asgard after manipulating both Odin and Thor from Earth, and while Asgardian plots may not be my favorite, there is a lot to love here. A lot of the Avengers get new outfits, which I always like, and this time they're Asgardian themed, so that's pretty cool. Tony Stark making a new armor in Nidavellir is at least mildly sick. Even I, as an Iron Man hater, do have to admit that. I also have a weird soft spot for the Warriors 3, I think that they're kinda fun, and Lady Sif is just a badass Jack Kirby design come to life, which I obviously love. I also like seeing smaller villains again back on Earth like the Living Laser and big-timers who have had a lot to do this season like Baron Zemo. But to be honest, I just feel like this finale could have happened in 2 episodes. I mean, if I, as an adult man with the brain of a child, am getting antsy after 3 episodes of this, imagine how actual children feel. They're so stupid. Overall, I've really enjoyed this show. I decided to cover it because so many of my commenters recommended it, especially during my Young Justice videos. And like, seriously, thank you guys. This is just a great Marvel comic show, and I've really enjoyed watching it a lot. It's funny, it's fast-paced, and it gives us so much variety across the Marvel universe. That's really my favorite part of it. If I had to pick a single favorite episode, while Gamma World Part 2 is up there, I think I would probably pick Ultron 5. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite episodes are, or least favorite episodes, I guess. If you want to be negative, it still helps the channel. But that is the video for this week, y'all. I'll see you next time. Avengers, disassemble. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching that video. If you made it to this point, a double thank you so much as always. I hope y'all have been doing well. The weather is getting nicer here in Kansas. Yeah, things have been going very nicely lately. But what I have to show off for my collection this week. Oh, actually, I want to talk about the show a little bit first. I really liked the show. I've talked about a little bit on this channel the how much like Jeremy Renner's portrayal of Hawkeye really like poisoned the well for me for like other portrayals of Hawkeye. But this has unpoisoned that well. It's taken the poison right out of the well. It's an incredible feat. But yeah, I'm much more ready to like Hawkeye now. I really like him in this show. I wanna pick up some Hawkeye comics soon. But speaking of comics, what I have to show for my collection this week is the next thing that I got from Marvel's Premiere Collection, the very reasonably priced ones they've been doing lately. I got Captain America: The Winter Soldier, baby. You can see I'm about halfway through it here. Got my bookmark in there. I used to dog ear books, but I got that shamed out of me. Also, I never would have dog eared my comics. I'd just do that with like novels and stuff. I wasn't a barbarian, but I don't even dog ear novels anymore. I'm a civilized boy now. But oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm about like pretty much halfway through, I guess. I just finished this little like interim chapter, this little side story. God, I'm kind of dehydrated right now. I think I keep licking my lips. But called The Lonesome Death of, I forget the character's name. He's like the second Captain America. He's nomad for a bit. It's a whole thing in this. He gets killed, and oh man, the chapter like about his death it's really sad. It's really well written though. It's sort of, I guess, like a commentary on how I'm sure that like other countries have this issue as well, but like especially in the US, like veterans' mental health is like it gets like talked about a lot, of like we got veterans with problems out there, but like no one actually like wants to help them. And this is pretty much about that, and it was done very effectively and in the format of a story about costumed superheroes, which, hey, that's what it's all about, baby. I want to make a video on season 2 here soon, but I've got some other stuff coming out soon. Oh my god, Daredevil Born Again is one of the shows of all time. They got some Daredevil in there, baby. They conjured Matt Murdock in those offices, and they were like, tell us things that you feel like would happen in your life. And then they bring those to screen. It's all tragedy and beautiful women and Matt Murdock being a bastard and the Kingpin being a bigger bastard. It's amazing. It's perfect. It's like I dreamed it and it became. But I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching.